Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. If you've not seen me before, my name is Abby the Mindset Fairy, and I'm here to help you turn your dreams into a reality. If you have seen me before, then welcome back. First of all, sorry about my voice. I'm getting over like a horrible cold, so I'm really super croaky at the moment. So please just bear with me. I may or may not lose my voice during this. So today's message is all about victim mindset. So I want to really talk about sort of what that is, how we can identify it within ourselves and the people around us, and then what we can do about it. So first of all, what is a victim mindset? So a victim mindset is defined as a viewpoint of a situation where you assume that situation is not going to go your way and that you'll be made a victim. So you assume that you might be discriminated against, or assume that if I go for that job, I'm never going to get it anyway, or those sorts of things never happen for me. If you're using those sorts of phrases or viewing situations and opportunities in your life as something, well, it's never going to happen to me because that just doesn't happen, or I never get what I want, things never go my way, so I'm not even going to try. That is a victim mindset. Now, this is different from being a victim, though a lot of the times they do come kind of like hand in hand. So when you are a victim of a situation, or a victim of like discrimination, a victim of abuse, bullying, you are making decisions based on your experience. That can lead to you then assuming that every situation in your life is going to make you a victim again. And that's when it switches to becoming a victim mindset. This is something that I'm very experienced in. As I've mentioned before, I've been in an abusive relationship for 19 years. So I'm out the other side of that now. I'm currently going through sort of healing from that, trying to work on my own mindset and rebuild my life again. So my perception of my mindset at the time was that I could identify a victim mindset in other people. So I would hear people saying those things and just think, well, that's just your mindset. You don't know whether or not it's going to be bad for you. You're stopping yourself from trying because your mindset is that of a victim. So you're perceiving that you're not going to get it. You're perceiving that something's going to be an obstacle for you when it might not even be there. And for a long time, I could see that in other people, but I couldn't see it in myself. So it took me a long time to realise that my situation was abusive, and to realise that emotional, financial and mental abuse is just as scarring to you as physical abuse. So I didn't notice the fact that my mindset was shifting that way. And it took me a long time to really realise exactly what I was going through, and to realise that I was making decisions based on the control within my life. So I would make a decision that I would ask for permission to go out and do something. That would always going to be a no. I would then have to be in a situation where I'm telling people, no, actually, no, I can't come when I thought I could. And I started to then not ask for permission. I started to automatically preempt that, well, it's going to be a no anyway. There's nothing I can do about it, so I might as well not try. And I was developing that victim mindset because I was developing that viewpoint that every opportunity in my life, if it's something I wanted to do, I would be prevented from doing it. So there was no point in even trying. There was no point going for that job because it didn't match within his plan for my life. I wouldn't go for that. I wouldn't go out and go away with people because I knew that if I was doing that, then I would face issues when I got back. So I developed a mindset of the fact that I couldn't enjoy the things that I wanted to enjoy because there was always going to be someone who stopped me. And it's really difficult to start to shift out of that. And it's really difficult to, whatever is the reason that's creating this victim mindset for you, and there's a number of different reasons that creates it for all of us, is when we start to look at everything as, well, it's never going to work anyway, or I might have the opportunity to do it, but then it's going to make this and this and this difficult. You then stop trying, you stop pushing yourself forward. And to actually try and shift out of that really starts with you addressing within yourself the reasons why you're feeling like that. So for me, yes, there was a big external factor, but it was also a factor of my own personal boundaries and my own self-worth. I had allowed myself to feel like that. I'd allowed myself to continue in that relationship, whereas it's very, very difficult to come out of it. It's very, very difficult to make that step to leave, like I did of it. But it did, it took me years to. But then you have to then start to work on, why am I allowing myself to feel like that? Why am I allowing myself to go through that situation and not walk away? And addressing that, for me, it came from a place of self-worth. I didn't feel like I was able to do things on my own, so I allowed myself to be controlled more and more because it was easier and I didn't want to stand up and fight for myself. And then it meant that I then became aligned to that way of life. And to try and shift out of that is really, really difficult. But there's a lot of healing that comes from it as well. There's a lot of understanding yourself. And I have a friend of mine who's going for counselling at the moment. And we were talking about it, and we were talking about like when you start to like make those conscious shifts to being, well, why can't I do that? Why couldn't I try that new thing? Because if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but why not? And when you start to go through all of that, you really feel like your insides have turned outside. You feel completely out of place, and it's so difficult to start off with, to start to view every situation, every opportunity as a possibility rather than what can go wrong. But when you do start to do that, and you start to then things start to work out for you, and you go out for that dinner with those people that you don't really know, and actually you have a wonderful time, and then you start to build more connections and more friendships. And when you start to go, well, yes, I'll try for that job, and yes, if I don't get it, but then you get really good feedback on how great you were, they just had an internal candidate or whatever it is, and you start to shift into that more positive mindset, as that was an experience and that was feedback that you never would have received had you not gone for it. Or the recruiter might feedback to you that you came across really well, but you also sort of could have been a bit more prepared, or you were a little bit too nervous for it, or you let your anxiety make sure that you kind of over talked. And so you can learn how to then take that on board and go for a job, but adjust how you do it. But you won't know that until you try, and you won't try while you always assume that it's going to go wrong for you. So it's one of the hardest parts of like developing that more positive mindset, is when you're coming from a place of so much. Victim mindsets often come from a place of pain. They come from where we haven't felt validated, where we haven't felt loved, where we haven't felt that we were good enough. They come from a lack of self-worth, a lack of self-confidence. And those are all the hardest parts of ourselves to work on. But in doing that and shifting out of that, which even now I will get an opportunity and I'll be like, oh, but those things never work out for me. And then I have to stop myself and I have to go, no, just because it hasn't worked out in the past doesn't mean that it won't work out now. And I have to consciously shift into the positive of, well, if I don't know, then it's always a no. If I don't try, it's always a no, and try and shift back into it. And each time you do it, it becomes slightly easier. And each time when you start to see the rewards, it becomes more ingrained with you and starts to build on that self-worth again, starts to build in that confidence again, starts to shine that light within you again, and you do start to see your way out of it. And you may be in a position in your life where at the moment you can't see a way out of it, where you don't realise that we don't necessarily always take responsibility for how it's impacted us, because I certainly didn't. I did not really sort of look at my situation, and then when I started to, it took me a long time to actually come come out of it and be like, well, it's going to be hard to blow up my entire life and to walk away. And it has been very hard. But there are a lot of benefits from it as well. And there's a lot of benefits from starting to view things from a place of what you could gain from it. Even if you gained a no, you at least know that was a no. Rather than always wondering whether or not it could have worked for you. So that's kind of my message for today. It's quite a heavy one, and there's a lot more to unpack from the whole victim mindset. So I will do some more videos sort of going into more details and more sort of practical advice on what you can do. But I just want to say that, whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that's caused you to view everything from that veil of, if it's just not worth me trying anymore, you will get through it and you will start to come out the other side. And as hard as it is, and it's bloody hard, you will definitely get to where you want to be. We just need to take small steps and just take every day as a gift and as a blessing to try again and to keep moving forward. And you will get there, and we will all get there. And I hope that helps for you today, and I will speak to you guys all soon. Bye.